Hey everybody, Arthur here with another unboxing video. Today we have Dungeons & Dragons Golden Archive Xanathar, and as you can see it comes in this giant box, a very hefty sized box with some amazing artwork on the box. The artwork is phenomenal. It looks like something you would actually see in a D&D book, and on the back shows the figure and everything, but let's go ahead and get this beholder out of his box. The first thing you're going to see out of the box is the base that Xanathar comes with, and it is a pile of gold coins, and this thing is sculpted all the way, all the individual coins looking fantastic. We even get some goblets sculpted in there as well, looking pretty awesome. We got a couple of them, and the one thing that I like is that they used a gold plastic. This actually looks like gold. It's not the mac and cheese gold we've seen with some Marvel Legends figures. This is a pretty nice looking base. And as you look around, it looks, it looks like gold. But then you get to this eyesore right here. You got this awesome sculpted skull. All they did was slap white paint on it or creamy paint, and it sticks out like a sore thumb. It makes this look even cheaper because it's just like they just slapped it on there. This needs a wash. Some shading done to it, but you can make this sculpt that's in there, because the sculpt looks great, pop, and you can make it blend and be more natural with this gold. Underneath, it is just basic looking, nothing crazy, but this is something that you can use with other 1/12 scale figures. Now, with this figure being based off the more recent Xanathar, and keep in mind, Xanathar is not a name, it's more of a title. So the beholder isn't named Xanathar, it's just his title. But we do get his Goldfish, Silgar. And this thing is pretty cool looking. There's sculpted in scales, there's paint on the fish. He's got some little pebbles and stuff like that. And he's just in this like gold encrusted, massive fish tank. And it looks awesome. I do not like the seam that they did. I wish they could have figured a way to do this. I mean, they can make a Mysterio head dome and not have the seam, but this seems to have had to have it. I don't get it. That's the ugliest part about this, but I love the detail that's in this, and I love the fact that they included Silgar. And what's funny as well as the Xanathar at times doesn't even realize that his goldfish has been replaced. A lot of times it will die, and Xanathar's little minions will actually replace the goldfish. But that's just some little nerdy facts there for you. But this is just cool. And again, you could have this work with any 1/12 scale figure if you want him to have a goldfish. When you get Xanathar all geared up with his eye tendrils and he is out of the box, this figure is a hefty, hefty figure. It is gorgeous once you add all the tendrils. I love the fact that there's a lot of matte finish to this figure, giving it a lot more of a realistic feel, and he just sort of fits into that little pile of gold. Now, the gold does not cradle him as nicely, so if you don't have him balanced right, he could probably roll off of that, so be very careful. There's no ports for it to plug into his back or anything like that. And there is a little bit of missed opportunity, in my opinion, where we could have had some like elevation. These guys are supposed to sort of float a little bit, so it would have been cool to have some magic effects raising him off of the ground or off of his gold pile, just to add more to that intimidation factor. And this figure has tons of detail. When it comes to Xanathar, this figure looks awesome. We got the matte finish for the plastic and some of the paint, giving it a more realistic feel. Has a gloss to the teeth and the gums. We got a gold lip ring, and we got some scaling sculpted in on the bottom and even on top of the figure. We got these sculpted in horns, just looking great. And then he is covered with 10 eye tendrils. Now, these eye tendrils do have magical abilities. Each one has its own unique ability. Like one can actually do like telekinesis where he can levitate and lift up objects, and then he has other ones that manipulate like people that can, scare them away or just mess with their minds. It's a very awesome abilities in these tendrils, and each one of these tendrils has unique little pieces of jewelry that are sculpted, have detail to them, just looking amazing. When it comes to articulation, his jaw is hinged. You could open this bad boy up, getting the whole interior of his mouth, and it is glossy. The tongue doesn't move, but tons of detail. And we got this little mechanism up at the top, because if you look and you watch his eyes, we can angle it there. Look left and right and up and down. And it's all done with this little mechanism up at the top of his mouth. And it's pretty awesome. So hinged jaw, eye movement. Would have been cool to get some like eyelid type of adjustments, because it is sort of like a neutral, I guess, or like chill type of eyelid versus something that looks aggressive or angry. All these tendrils, there's no articulation in them. It just has a ball joint that pops in when you pop these bad boys on. So you get movement like this out of them. It's, I don't know. I think it works. He's not really attacking with them physically or picking people up with them. So I think it keeps the sculpt looking nice and consistent. And honestly, it's a solid looking piece. And it's cool just that like all these can move because they're on that ball joint and shift around. But I honestly don't think it needs the actual bends in each elbow or whatever, because then you would have seen like the little disc hinge and all that type of stuff, the joints, and it would have just made this not look as clean. Like this thing, the way the matte skin is and how it looks like a creature. It actually has a lot of realism to it and doesn't have a lot of plasticky look to it. When it comes to size comparison, I did bust out some random figures. We got the Black Dino Ranger, we got Classified Duke, Street Gomez, and Thor. And the Beholder, I think, is scaled pretty well. He is a big figure, and honestly, when you're looking at the Beholder, I know a lot of people think that these guys are like huge, giant freaking things. But these are average, honestly. They're about 6 to 7 feet in diameter. And so scaling-wise, it's not too bad. Now, we got ourselves a Black Knight from Mythic Legions coming out here. I figured I'd grab something fantasy to go with it, like medieval fantasy. But he does stand slightly taller. And that's the only thing. Like, scale-wise, I would say, you know, Duke is more the proper scale with the Beholder. When you bust out the Mythic Legions, this guy is a lot taller. When it comes to Xanathar and his Goldfish, this set does not disappoint. Definitely for a Hasbro Pulse exclusive, this is a solid piece. And honestly, it surprised the heck out of me. When I took it out of the package, it was a lot bigger than I was expecting. I was thinking that they were going to scale it down. They weren't going to be accurate with it. And honestly, they followed through. This is a great piece. Now, you can nitpick everything. Sure, I would have liked to have a little bit more of a expressive brow, but I don't know how they would have done that without adding a bunch of more like breakups in the sculpt. And then I would have really liked a smoke or magical effect that would maybe pop around the gold so you could have them separate pieces, but actually gave him some like floating or levitation type of display. Because this thing's already going to display really well on a shelf, on a DTOF, but to imagine having that thing off the ground sort of floating there would just be amazing. But for being my first Dungeons and Dragons figure from Hasbro, it's a solid release. I was eyeballing the Drizzits and his Panther for a while, but I never pulled the trigger. But when I saw that they were pumping out a Beholder, that's just a iconic character from Dungeons and Dragons that I grew up with, and I was like, all right, it's one of those things I was like, I want it. It was a gotta have it moment for me, and this is just a beautiful piece. And that sums up my unboxing and review of Dungeons & Dragons Golden Archive Xanathar. If you guys are enjoying my content, hit that like button. New to my channel, hit that subscribe button as it helps the channel evolve and grow. And if you guys want to know when I post up a new video or go live for my stream State of the Art every Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, hit the silver bell notification so you guys can jump in, chat it up about action figures, ask questions, and just have a good time. And I want you guys to make sure you check out Toyco Toys and Collectibles. Their information's down below in case you guys want to pick up some imports like Mayfex, SH Figu Arts, Figma, you know, all those awesome figures. Go check them out. Information's down below. But most importantly, I want you guys to have the best luck hunting, keep on collecting, and have a beautiful day.